or not.
Yay!
Excellent, excellent. So again, good morning, everybody. Let's begin as we typically do with, let me share the screen and we'll begin with Lift Every Voice and Sing, hopefully. Just a moment here. I better make sure it's open. All right. We should get 2 more or 10 more added by the time I get my act together here. Which isn't all bad.
At least you're recording.
Who said that?
Not me.
And it might be good for everybody to mute if we're going to start.
Excellent. Let me stop and stop sharing. Very good. Again, good morning, everybody. It is so good to see everyone. Let's get into the balance of our meeting. Gary Giscombe and our moment in history.
Angelo said, if you're always trying to be normal, you'll never know how amazing you can be. And we saw that from our founder, Carter G. Woodson, how he became so amazing. This morning, we're going to have a moment in history presented by our board member, Harold Young. Harold was admitted to the bar and in Maryland, and he's also authorized practice for the U.S. District Court. Received a bachelor's degree from the University of Virginia in economics. He's got a master's in urban planning and policy analysis from Morgan State. He's also got his law degree from the University of Baltimore Law School. He has spent 30 plus years with HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and he's been responsible for delivery of national programs for HUD. This morning, Harold's gonna present to us a program that he led in conjunction with the Church of the Palms as a participant in the social justice ministry from Light of the World Church. This program is designed to assist those who have been previously incarcerated or not necessarily incarcerated, but those who seek help similar to what we want to do as an organization. Harold is an outstanding member of the bar. He's done an outstanding job on this, and I feel you will really enjoy his presentation. Harold?
Thanks, Gary. You really raised the bar real high there for me. Hope I can get through this. This is really a commercial, and I know I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through this resource guide, which I'm falling in love with in terms of what it's already doing to several of the organizations with whom we've spoken about this. But I want to give a shout out and thanks to Pastor Lumpkins at Light of the World for his insight in actually setting up this social justice ministry, and for the wisdom to point Larry and Val Lawson as the leaders of the social justice ministry. And Larry and Val set up 4 social justice teams, one of which was the adult justice team from which this resource guide has come. Then the others were juvenile justice, health, and communication. I have to really give a shout out to Keith Maddox, Church of the Palm, who did a lot of the detail work in this guide. He's been helping me from the beginning. We started out with 10 people, and we looked up, there's only Keith and Harold. So this is like a Keith and Harold show. So we'll kind of move forward. So we printed initially, roughly 100 copies of this resource guide, and Church of the Palm has a printing press and a communication system second to none. They actually have a food bank there where they serve maybe 120 families per day. So here we are, and they were copying this.
Harold, excuse me. Do you want me to bring that guide up? Just let me know when you.
I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it in 1 second. Okay, and so Church of the Palms Food Bank, they couldn't wait for the book to be published or what have you. They've started making photocopies and distributing it to its clients as well. So here we are. Can everyone see it?
I mean, I've got to make you a co-host first, I think, and I just did that.
Okay. Do I need to go out and come back in?
All right. No, I think you should be fine.
You see it now?
Are you sharing your screen?
You
got to share your screen. The bar at the bottom should have a green arrow up.
Bottom left or,
Now it should be dead center at the bottom. The only green
okay, now I have to, and I click on share.
there you go.
Yes.
Okay, and you see the
There you go.
cover. Okay, so there is the cover, Light of the World, International Church Resources Guide for Returning Citizens and Others. Our social justice ministry. This is a letter from our pastor there, Lumpkin. Isaiah 1:17, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, plead the widow's cause. And again, this guide was produced, researched, and formatted by Church of the Palm and Light of the World. And so we have actually distributed this probably to maybe 600 or 700 outlets, email addresses, as well as some hard copies. This is a 32-page document, and we will not go through those 32 pages, but I have selected a few just for your entertainment. So let's skip on over to page 9 and see where we go here. Let's go to Bradenton Galvano Job Connection. Okay, that's the Goodwill, folks. So if one were looking for employment, you only click on this website here. And currently there are 70 jobs that are available. And you can kind of scroll down into and get a, look for, here's a job for $11.50 per hour as a cashier. I'm just showing you how deep you can get into these websites and learn all about the resources that are, that are available. So let's do this here. And so now we want to go over to page 10. Quickly, to page 10, legal aid, Gulf Coast Legal Services. And they tell you, what we do. Okay, financial stability, housing advocacy, family domestic violence advocacy, immigration advocacy. So a host of services that are actually provided by legal services. And then we have the Veterans Service on page 11. If we could just walk on over to page 11, and we can scroll down here to Veterans Services in Sarasota County. And for example, if we were looking for human services, let's go to emergency rental. If we needed to apply for emergency rental, they particularly cater to the veterans. Don't want to go any further, but the number of services that are available through this organization. And so what if one is homeless? What's available for persons who are homeless? So let's skip on over to page 22 of the guide and scroll down. You have here Safe Place and Rape Crisis Center. You have American Red Cross Resurrection House, and we have the Harvest House. Let's see what we have here in the Harvest House. Revitalizing neighborhoods and transforming lives. Scroll right down here a bit, and so we can learn a little more quickly. Okay, Family Haven, emergency shelter. One can stay there from 2 weeks up to 30 days. Just call this number, no cost. And we scroll down to transitional housing. Transitional housing can stay there for a maximum of 90 days based on referral basis. Again, no cost. And then Harvest House also has a permanent supportive housing. You can stay up to 24 months there. And families pay, in this case, no more than 30% of their income for rent and services. Okay, and let's go to page 27 quickly. Can get there. Okay, so on page 27, we have the Caritas program. And here, they do outreach with cash assistance, paying utility bills for food, for transportation, prescriptions, work attire for thousands of residents every year. So who's doing this good deed? First Baptist Church, First Presbyterian Church, Church of the Redeemer, St. Martha Catholic Church, and First United Methodist Church. Very good, excellent resource. And the last program I want to share with you is a program of Project 180. The website is under construction. Our team is doing updates, so I just selected, okay, probably want to go back here a bit. Okay, the Project 180 reentry program, the mission here is simply seeks to reintegrate formerly incarcerated citizens into community life. They have a residential program. Project 180 has 2 residences. I've met with several of the men over a period of time, outstanding people in recovery, turning their life around, have a plan. They can stay at the residence for up to 2 years. Assistance in finding full-time employment is available. Matching funds, oftentimes there's some restoration fees out there that the residents will have to pay in order to get a driver's license, for example. Project 180 will match dollar for dollar up to $1,000. Imagine this, you've been locked up 5 or 7, 10 years, your first week out. It has to be unnerving. So Project 180 again assists persons reentering Sarasota County from state prison. At this point, it's still a pilot program. And how do you get started? Quickly, volunteers and staff from Project 180 go into the prison, meet the men who are soon to be released. They attempt to identify the services that will be needed by these men. And once they are released, they identify wraparound services up to 2 weeks. It is rough. These men need housing. I was preparing months before and trying to do some research about what's out there for returning citizens from being incarcerated. And I called into Project 180 and learned a lot, took copious notes. And at the end of my conversation with the lady, she said, we have an emergency. And I said, well, what's the emergency? She said, we have a man who will be homeless today, and he needs a place to sleep, and he needs a place for a week. So, she looked at me, I'm seeing her looking at me and thinking, oh my God. So I looked at it for an escape hatch. I couldn't. I looked to my left, to my right, and well, I folded and I made a contribution. But the needs are a huge: employment, toiletries, telephone, driver's license, social security card, birth certificates, clothing, work boots, tools, transportation. Oftentimes they only have a bus pass to get to the bus stop, and Project 180 will pick the men up and take them, for example, to the Department of Motor Vehicles. Sometimes it's a bike, money, or food. But this is an awesome time an opportunity for these men to begin turning their life around. The success rate is pretty high, but there are several instances where the men do not make the full recovery and oftentimes relapse primarily with regard to addiction. So that pretty much concludes the presentation. We are currently updating it after 7 months since it was first published. And my reason for wanting to come on and discuss briefly with you this resource, guys, we want to make sure that we have it widely distributed because it provides services to so many men and women and others, those both who have been incarcerated, and to the general public. So we only ask you that if you have any organizations or individuals that you believe that could benefit from this resource guide, please let us know. You can get in touch with Asala or Light of the World, and we will get this done for you. Thank you very much for the moment you've given me to share.
Thank you, Harold. David has sent out a copy to all membership earlier. I forget when you sent it out, David, but David did make this available to everyone. And it's an outstanding piece of work, and you share it as much as possible, as widely as possible, because it benefits so many people.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to both Marion and David. I think I've bugged them so much they sent it out twice for me through Asala. So I promise I won't bug you anymore on it, but thank you for your support. It's huge.
Harold, we owe you a debt of gratitude. You and the team at Light of the World and Church of the Palms and the other churches collaborating. You know, at Asala, we are focused on our community. That's the broader community, but that's also the African American community, and we know that these services are badly needed to an unfortunately unreasonable degree, given our representation in the returning population. So this is critically important information, and Harold, we owe you again and the team a debt of gratitude. We've got some folks, I think, who are on the Project 180 board. I've attended their luncheon, and these organizations do tremendous work, and encourage you all to support not only the dissemination of the resource guide, that's a big part of our mission, but to engage if it's through your church or whatever other organization. So Harold, thank you so much for that.
I didn't want to miss the fact that I too have been invited onto the board. So I've been on the board for about a year as a result of my initial inquiry here. So
excellent, very good. Let's move into the rest of our agenda. We do want to try to give you all back as much of your Saturday as possible. I'll begin my report with reference to, yes.
I was just going to ask Gary to stop sharing, but he did. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Gary. Our minutes of the October 23rd, 2021 meeting. Obviously, this is our November meeting, which we're holding in December because of the holiday, but the minutes were attached
David, before you proceed, there are a couple of questions for Harold.
Okay, Marion, go ahead.
Harold, is it for men only? You're muted, Harold. Harold, you're on mute.
There you go.
You have to unmute.
He's still muted. He's trying to unmute. He's trying to unmute.
Okay, great question. The resource guide is not for men only. It has equal number of services for men and women and families. What's for men only are the programs and services provided by Project 180. So yeah, this is a guide that is universally available, useful for anyone who wants to inquire.
And another question, is it also available for Manatee County?
It is. The services provided primarily for Sarasota and Manatee County. There may be one or two other counties as well, but the focus is on those two counties.
Okay. All right, David.
Excellent. Thanks, Marion. Again, thanks, Harold. So to our minutes, our October 23rd minutes, they were attached to the 2 meeting notices. And I'd ask if there are any questions on the minutes, any corrections? Seeing none, we'll receive the minutes as submitted, subject to any later corrections. 3 other quick items, 4 others in my report. The second are amended bylaws, constitution and bylaws. We presented these revisions at 2 previous meetings as we committed to do, and we said at this meeting we would ask for a vote. I did not receive any other suggested changes, any questions. Hopefully everyone has had now more than 2 months to study and raise any issues. And so seeing none, the chair would entertain a motion.
So moved, Linda Crump.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor of the adoption of our amended constitution and bylaws, please respond by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Good. Clearly our new constitution and bylaws are in force, and thank you for that. Second item, also among the attachments to the meeting notice, a memo or a white paper done by Harold Young. Again, Harold is been performing exemplary service for the board and the membership over the last month. Let me give a little background on the memo, and if you've not had a chance to read it, please do. It's excellent, but it's also important. It addresses the protection of our 501c3 status under the IRS regs. As I hope you know, Manasota ASALH has its own 501c3 registration, and it is much valued, and we want to protect it. At the same time, some of us find ourselves engaged in some public activism. You've heard us talk about what's happening at the school boards, and that's going to continue. And so we wanted to assure the members, as you see any of us engaged in public activism, that we are always mindful to protect our status. And we wanted to show you through the memo that Harold provided what the IRS requires and how we are diligently complying with those requirements. So there's a school board election coming up in the spring. You'll likely see some of us engaged there. That's clearly political activity, and that would have to be done by an individual, not a member or an officer of ASALH. And we'll be any of us involved in that, we'll be very careful to represent ourselves as individuals and not as officers or representatives of Manasota ASALH. So we understand that very fine line, and we wanted to assure you that your board is attentive to those requirements, and we'll keep you informed as we continue to be engaged in the community, as we're encouraging you. I'm going to talk about dates for the December school board meetings here in a moment. And we've said we'd love to see more of you. And I thank those of you who have been attending the Sarasota school boards, because we see you there, and some of you have spoken quite eloquently to the issues facing the board. So please see that memo if you've got concerns, and then let us know if they don't answer those concerns. Fourth item on my report, your board met in special session yesterday for 2 primary reasons. This is in addition to our regular November board meeting. We met to discuss this issue, this tax exemption, and Harold's very helpful memo. But we also wanted to look at the status of our membership campaign, and we'll hear more about that when Rita does her report. But obviously we're focused on membership, because we want as healthy a membership as possible. B, because we want the membership dues help fund our activities and our expenses. And so we're always going to be pushing for members who haven't renewed to renew, and looking always to welcome new members. We've got a number of new institutional members, some of whom you'll hear about in Rita's report, and we're excited by that. And you'll hear from some of the reports that will come later how we're engaging with those institutional members. So I want to give a special thanks, shout out to our board. You need to know that your board is extraordinary. They are all dedicated. They are all working hard, and they're volunteering to do the work of Manasota ASALH. I can't find the right words to express my gratitude for their time and their commitment. And I hope you understand that. This is, we're all retired, or most of us are retired, excuse me. I know we've got some youngsters on the call. But for retirees to be doing what these folks are doing, I think is just laudable. So again, I wanted to not fail to mention that. School board, I mentioned so the Sarasota School Board will meet on this Tuesday, the 7th at 3 p.m. The Manatee School Board meets on the 14th at 10 a.m. Those dates are always available from their websites. And again, you all know what's going on broadly around Florida and other states, and what the governors and the legislatures are trying to do, ostensibly to attack CRT, but what they're effectively doing is discouraging the teaching of our history. That's a core attack on our mission, and I'll continue to repeat that because I believe it bottom of my heart. And if we allow it, they're perfectly welcome to continue not educating our children, and I think that's a crime. Last item on my report, we're going to try and meet in person in January. Let me explain. We've been talking about this for a number of months. I had a good call yesterday with Sylvia Cyrus, who's the executive director of ASALH. Obviously, our board at our meeting, the special meeting, discussed this. We'll try to do this in a hybrid fashion. Those of you who want to do Zoom will be welcome to call in. We're going to do it at the library, the Betty J. Johnson Library in Newtown. They've got some new technology that we believe will work well, allowing, again, a hybrid meeting. We'll have a number of us present. People who want to attend will have to register. We don't require registrations for all of the Zoom meetings we've had, but because we're going to try this hybrid experiment, we will put a registration requirement, probably accept the first 50, no more, because we want to socially distance within the Ed Davis room at the library. We're going to ask people to wear masks, and we're going to ask for vaccination cards. Now, this is going to be challenging. This is a public library. We are in Florida, but these are details we're going to try and enforce to protect our population. We're going to sort of follow the model of, I think it's called Safe Sarasota. If you go to WBTT or the Studio Theater, these private venues, that's what they're doing. And we're going to try to do the same. So stay tuned, listen for, you'll certainly get emails from us beforehand. And we're actually going to be somewhat of a test case for the national ASALH. And so they're interested in how this works, how well it works, and the steps that we take to keep our population safe. That is my report. Are there questions before we move to Alan's report? Seeing none, hearing none. Alan, would you give us your treasurer's report, please?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you for this opportunity to discuss our finances. We continue to be in a strong financial position. I want to take you briefly through why we're in a strong financial position. If you look at the revenue statement, our revenue can be explained by two basic items. 5180 in the revenue column is accounted for by 40 new members, and the $600 actually 599 in the revenue column, is explained by William Penn, a contribution from William Penn and the Community Foundation of Sarasota. So again, most of our revenue is explained by 2 items, which are fairly easily identified. Our expenses are explained by 3 items. 500 for Randy Rankin. We are thinking about holding that. We had to reserve a space for that. The tentative date, if that takes place, is April the 9th. 464, the other big item, is storage unit payment for the next 4 months through the end of January. And 671 is our web expense for maintaining and upkeeping our website. So again, our profit and loss statement is explained by 5 different numbers. And I think it pretty much captures the story of our finances. The next page of my report is the bank account. Again, the numbers here are also fairly straightforward and can be explained by a couple of actions. The change from September through October is explained by the changes in the profit and loss statement. So that's straightforward. It follows from the other page. The good news is that in looking at the balance for the end of November, our balance there has increased to $120,000, primarily accounted for by a $10,000 donation from the Amica Foundation and additional dues payments. And that completes my report. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Any questions for Alan? The report was attached again to the meeting notice. We're going to try to operate paperless as much as we can. So if anybody didn't get those then we can provide later. But seeing no questions, objections, Alan's report will be received as submitted, subject to any later corrections or additions. Rita Smith, our second VP member chair, I see is on. Rita, would you give us your report, please?
Good morning, everyone.
Rita.
Hi. First, I want to thank everyone who've already gone on and renewed their memberships. As of today, we have about 240 renewals and new members. We are a little bit short of our goals, but we're going to continue to work to increase those numbers through the end of the month. And if anybody online who have not taken the time to renew, please go on our website and renew, or you could print out our application and go on and mail it in. Like David said, we do have a few institutional members, brand new institutional members, Bay Park Conservancy, Boxer Diversity Initiative, United Church of Christ, WSF Radio, Public Radio. So that brings about 20 institutional members that we have, which is really great, I think. So if, for those of you who haven't renewed, if you get a call from any of our members, please be nice to them. We are going to start a personal touch to reach out to our members who haven't taken the time to renew to go on and do that. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on the 18th at our holiday event, and hopefully in January at our in-person event. We're keeping our fingers crossed. So I don't have anything else. David, anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions for Rita? Thanks, Rita. That's a good report. And 240 paid members through our campaign is excellent, but we can do better. So if you've not, as Rita said, please send in your dues. And if you get a call from one of us, understand that it's just a love tap to remind you to get that done. All right, let's correspondence. Marianne.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Correspondence. Received checks from individuals for 360 campaign, as well as checks from individuals for membership, which Rita's already gone over. Also for the website, the webmaster for the website, we know we've been sending you too much email, and we have a poll to ask you a simple question and to discuss some possible changes. I'm going to pull up the poll. We would like you to answer the poll with an agree or disagree to the one question.
Hopefully everybody can identify the poll on your device. Excellent. Good. Looks pretty close to me, Marion. I don't know.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to share the results. So 97% agree with the proposal and 3% disagree.
Mary, how many people altogether?
Altogether, it's 100% answered.
No, I mean,
38,
how many people are there?
38
Okay, thanks.
Great responses.
participated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
38
Got-
people participated.
Yeah, we got some people sharing screens.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to try this and see how it works. So the plan is Lynetta and I came up with this one question. We're going to, the 15th of the month before, and this will start in January, we would like you to submit your email, and then we would submit and send that email out the following month. If the dates don't apply, let's say you have a date that falls between the 15th and the 30th of the month, we'll send that out individually. But if we can, we would like to send it out in a newsletter format. That will cut down the amount of email we're sending out to our members. We've heard from you. You've said things like you're sending out too much email. Some of you have unsubscribed. That's something we don't want to happen, but we want to keep you informed on what's happening in the community. So we're going to try this. If it works, it will be the way we'll do it from this time on. And that's my correspondence report.
Marion, can I just add, and I think it's a plan that makes good sense, but we did get a comment in the chat that there will be times when a sensitive message or an important message outside of those date parameters, and we'll certainly be sending those out individually. So we're never going to be, captive to a particular model. We're going to do what works, but hopefully this will be. And would you compare this, Marion, to the sort of newsletter that Vicki Oldham sends with Newtown Alive?
Yes, where
Okay.
we have 4 or 5. We'll have an image from your email and the dates off to the side. In fact, Lynetta sent me an example of one that's done by the Art Center. And it was perfect, I thought. It's clean, it's easy to read, and we'll try that. And if that format does not work, we'll try another one. We want to make it easier for you to read email, and we want you to know what's going on in the community. I have a question in the chat. As an institutional member, how do I find email addresses? I'm not quite sure how to answer that question.
Why don't we take that offline, Marion, and they can
Okay.
contact you directly?
Okay.
Yeah.
I also want to ask if you can send, as an institutional member, if you can also send your email with at least a 5-day time frame. Obviously, it's difficult for me to send out an email the day of. I would like to, but I may have 4 or 5 emails I'm working on already. And I do it as a first come, first serve basis. So if I'm working on emails already and you send one that's due that day, I can't send it out that day. So If you could send them with a 4 or 5 day lead time, that would be helpful as well. Any other questions or comments?
All right, thanks, Marianne. I don't see any others in the chat.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Fred White and our fundraising committee.
Morning, everyone. First, I
Morning.
want to thank everybody who has contributed to the Project 360 program. That is a work in progress. For those of you who have contributed, you have my heartfelt thanks. For those of you who have not, please think about it. We have information now on the website about the scholarship program, although there may be a glitch about getting more information. We're not sure about that, but it's on the website. We also will be sending out within the next couple of weeks a trifold brochure to all the members and some non-members explaining the program. And we're sending it out because we know that everybody is not email savvy or people get too many emails. So you're going to get a paper document, hopefully before Christmas, explaining the program. And hopefully you will contribute to the program. As you know, the idea is to continue to support local high school and college students in the minority community and give them scholarship money. Now, we've heard from, I think the Crumps have let me know that at least some of the HBCU schools have additional scholarship money post-COVID, and we are aware of that, but we still want to give these kids as much of an opportunity to do well as they possibly can. So we're going to look for the brochure. Also, we have had discussions with the Arts and Culture Committee. Willie Clemens and Paul Tolliver had made some great strides in meeting with some of our institutional members like Hermitage and others. And there may be possibilities with respect to those groups. I'm going to leave that to Willie and Paul to figure out, to do some friend raising with them and some fundraising to help our scholarship program. Lastly, I think Alan mentioned the April 9th date for Randy Rankin. We're still holding it, but I've been in some discussions with Hank Richardson, who has a great relationship with the folks at Palm Air. We're still monitoring this Omicron variant situation. So as of now, that we're holding that date, but we want to get a little more information about the breadth of this new pandemic issue. And when we get that and feel more comfortable, we'll come back to you with respect to Randy Rankin. And as I've said before, we're still not sure whether we're going to have it. And there are a number of groups out there have the same kinds of feelings as we do. So with that, that concludes my report, and I'll be happy to take any questions from anybody.
Any questions for Fred? And do give consideration to the 360 concept. It's simple, clean, and will help us avoid a year in need for another close the gap. This pandemic has obviously impacted normal operations, and the membership has responded extraordinarily well. But the 360 is a great idea, so I encourage you to follow it. Fred, if that's all, then we'll move to our committee reports, beginning with Arts and Culture. I think I know Willie's on, and I think I saw Paul Tolliver as Willie Clemens and Paul Tolliver.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just want to piggyback on the Fred's report, because he highlighted a very, very key factor that Paul and I have been involved with over the past couple of months, and that is meeting with many of our institutional members who are heads of arts and culture organizations, and have gotten very, very good responses from them. I may have shared with you early on that we had a very good meeting with Jim Shirley, who, as you know, is the executive director for the whole Arts Alliance. And he has offered through the organization to support us, not only in terms of with our fundraising initiatives, but also in terms of the use of office space and some of the other resources that they have access to. Recently, I met with Jennifer Romanicki, who is head of Selby, who has offered the same thing. I don't know if you are familiar with the event space that is at Selby, the Selby Gardens. That it's a very, very nice facility. They have any number of events there. They can accommodate between 250 to 300 people. That she has offered that for rent free, and if we would just provide the food, which is Michael on East is the official caterer for that facility, and to work with them. And so we will be getting with with Fred and Harold and others and having this discussion as to how these kinds of things could be, we could take advantage of those opportunities, because they have offered to assist us in providing resources and access to a lot of the other initiatives that we have. We've also, what's coming up, and Paul can explain more and more detail in terms of that, is the Hermitage retreat initiative that is scheduled for February the 8th. And the Hermitage. And it's on their campus. We know that it is a distance for us, and one of the recommendations that we did, that was made, that we look at getting a bus, and we'll get more details to provide transportation for those, because this is our event, and there will also be a private reception following that for Asala members only. It's featuring saxophonist and composer Matthew Evan Taylor, who is now combines his music with social justice issues. And it is, from what we were told, that he is certainly outstanding. He's done things across the country. And for us to have access to that particular event, we certainly want to take full advantage. And so we'll be getting back with you regarding more specific details. I think David may have mentioned to you at our last meeting that we met with Bob Conklin and the chair of the board for Key Corral Performance Group, and they are joining as an institutional member, and they too have offered to work with us on as a partner on some of these our activities as well as those. And lastly, what we're finding is that the institutional members, and specifically the arts and culture ones, are wanting to just become more engaged and do provide mutual beneficial kinds of opportunities for both groups. And so we want to take full advantage of that. And so you'll be hearing more and more as we develop more details. And as I said, we will be meeting with Fred and the fundraising committee to see how we can partner with these organizations, especially as it relates to our fundraising initiatives. Any questions from anyone? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought.
Yeah, no, I think.
Hi there. I'm Martha Collins from the Opera Company, and I would love to talk to you about potential partnerships and how we can join with singers and help in any way. I would love to discuss with you. So.
Yeah, you're on our list. We're in fact, you along with the ballet, the Van Wezel, we have been given all of those names by Jim Shirley, and it's just scheduling appointments. So sure, we will definitely be getting in touch with you regarding that. Okay.
Can I just say something, if I may?
Please.
Clement, I just want to give a shout out to Asala and everybody else who supported the Visions of the Black experience. which I think was 2 weeks ago. And it was our third film festival, and it was quite successful. Gene and Linda Crump attended every screening, which is wonderful. And we had a full house for the Friday night program, and pretty much for the Saturday night program. We had Professor Valerie Schoon talk about racial injustice in the North Florida or Tallahassee region. And the filmmakers went to Booker High School and talked at New College, and Bill Woodson and Professor Zabriskie, members of ASALA, as well as Paul Tolliver, really helped. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Dan. I really commend our Arts and Culture Committee. The Hermitage, I think, is the great model that we can follow. We have these wonderful partners who are reaching out to us, we're reaching back to them, and coming up with creative ways to collaborate. Gives us an opportunity, again, to promote our mission to a broader audience. And so this is important work. So thanks again to Willie and to Paul. If there are not any other questions, let's move to our scholarship committee and Harriet Cowan. I know Harriet's on here. I saw her. Good morning, Harriet.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Yes. Yeah, our committee is working really hard to fine tune our new online process for the applications for the students. It will be due as usual, February 15th, and they have just pretty much settled down with getting their college applications finished. So now we expect to start seeing the scholarship applications coming in. So we are looking forward to another wonderful group as we had last year, and ready for them. We're establishing stronger connections with the high school counselors and career advisors, and that's so important. And I know it's difficult to have time with them, but I was able to get 2 workshops with the students at Booker High next week and Sarasota High to present the scholarship program. So I'm looking forward to that, working with them one-on-one through the application process. And so we're also making a strong connection with all of these outreach organizations that Ron Mason had spoken about last meeting. So that's in the works as well. The highlight that I want to report about is that wonderful grant that we did receive for a scholarship program from the Amica insurance company. And so that will take care of the junior year for our current 3 students. And so we're hoping that we will be able to continue the scholarship for those students for their senior year. Right now, they're taken care of with the SNEED part of the program for their junior year. So, and I also wanted to say that I was just so happy to be able to highlight when I was writing the grant for the Amica grant, some of those students who are graduating now and who have gone on. I've been messaging with them, and they've given me some information about how well they're doing and where they're going with their careers. And it's so impressive. They're going on to become a neuropsychologist, an engineer, medical doctor, and serving, and really emphasizing that they want to serve the underserved communities. And so that was something that I mentioned in the grant. And I was so pleased that the president himself sent an additional donation for our scholarship program, a personal check. And so he was very pleased, you know, about being able to do that, as we were, of course. And so also thank you for those people who are supporting that 360 program for our high school students who are applying now. This is so needed, and we just really are appreciative of those who have already donated And we'll be sending out the thank you notes and really just letting you know how much this is so important for our scholarship program, given the fact that we are at a standstill and making any firm plans for our regular fundraising event. So that's where we are right now. We're still also working on the archive process. We just about completed that, and then we will be able to track these students even further and highlight their accomplishments. So that's the report. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Harriet. I think we should also acknowledge Don Reeves, who was obviously linked to Amika and helped us navigate the communications with the president, DiMuccio, I believe is his name, who gave the kind gift. And so we're very grateful to Don for making that happen. And again, we'll continue to support our young people. Thanks, Harriet. Our education report from Jean and Linda Crump.
Hi, this is Linda Crump, and I'm happy to start our report by giving a shout out to our intern, Lauren David. She has been amazing. I also want to put a bug in Bill Woodson's ear while he's listening that having an intern has been wonderful for us. And I think if you talk to Lauren, she'll tell you it was a wonderful experience for her. So hint, hint, having an intern every single semester would be awesome for our organization. So I hope Bill heard that and he'll take note of it. We will be asking again. So first of all, like I said, the insight that Lauren has brought and what she's brought with her has been really great. And we should be proud that New College is producing students with the caliber that Lauren had. So Kwanzaa is coming up, and we had a great opportunity to partner with the AACRC in doing a recording of a Kwanzaa celebration. And we will do our Beyond Black History moment, December 16th. And you'll get to see something about Kwanzaa with that particular presentation. Again, thank you, Lois. Lois 4, I think is her name, because I have to get the right Lois, who really made that program happen along with Lauren. Lauren did an amazing job. Just a sneak and that date will be December 16th at 4 p.m. via Zoom. Sneak preview, January, Alvin Stout is going to bring in a speaker who's going to talk about CRT. And again, I want to do a shout out to Harold Young for giving us some language that if we think we need to use, we can use to make sure that we're an education group and CRT is an educational issue, and we will be promoting the understanding of CRT. And one last just teaser, there are some descendants of Plessy Ferguson that we hope to tap into for hopefully having some kind of February meeting. We continue to work with the Community Remembrance Project. We have some meetings coming up, so we hope to bring you more news as we finalize those things. Jean, do you have anything you want to add to the report? I think he's muted, but I think I can hear him from the other room. He said no. Okay, thank you. And then any questions that anybody has that they'd like to ask of our committee? If not, we look forward to any kinds of information that you would want to know, things you're interested in as we continue to plan for these Beyond Black History moments. Thank you.
Thanks, Jean and Linda. Thanks to everybody on the committee. We should also give thanks to the to my Lois and the folks at the African American Cultural Resource Center, Ms. Harper in particular, who always contributes to the Kwanzaa celebration. Watch for the announcements and the scheduling of when that's available. We had a chance to participate, and it was really well done, and everybody contributed. So you've heard from 3 of our committees today. These are key committees. The chairs of these committees are now members of our board in accordance with our amended bylaws and constitutions. And let me just encourage, all of these committees need more bodies and more minds. So don't be shy. Join in. Marion's got a question or a
I
comment.
wanted to mention that Beyond Black History Month is posted on our website. There is a website called Beyond Black Black History Facts, and we have gotten permission to place those on our site. And please go to our site and read about the Black History Fact of the Month. We'll have one up for December. As of December 1st, there's a new one. We'll put one up monthly. We were doing it weekly, and that was a bit much, so we're doing it monthly.
Great. Any other questions for our committees or committee chairs?
David, as an ancillary to Linda's report, our Black History Month presentations are always on the website. So if you can't participate directly on the Beyond Black History Month, you can go to the website and see the recording of those events.
Thanks, Gene. And Marion and Gene, both your comments remind me that National has been asking us to upload our events to the National website. We'll address that later, but I think there's some wonderful programming that's coming out of Minnesota Asala that we ought to be sharing with the larger Asala audience, and they send us reminders about that, so we'll look to do that. For good and welfare, as we head toward the end of the agenda, Bo Bell is absent today. Bo lost his younger brother, Alistair James Shorter. I believe is his name. Shorter. Thank you. And so Bo is with family, and he and his family are in our prayers. Other good and welfare issues. Bob Catno is on today, and it's good to see Bob. He's had some medical services rendered this week, and he's got his smile back. So I know he's feeling good. Lytton Bowser also has some medical services that we know she's going to weather well, and that's why she's not on. Lytton is always on. Every Zoom that I'm on that she's scheduled, Lytton is there. So we miss her today, but please keep Lytton in your thoughts and prayers. And I scrolled through our screens today, and I saw Dr. Penn, Dolores Penn. I haven't seen her in a while, and it's good to see her. If I've missed anybody who knows of one of our members who we ought to give account to, please let us know before we finish today. Some of us were able to visit the burial for Henry Blyden this past week, and it was out at the National Cemetery. And as always, it was moving and beautiful. Our member Pastor Ray Taylor provided prayer for that burial service, and we will miss our brother, but remember him for all that he did for each of us individually and collectively. A great Asala partner. Anything else in the good and welfare area before I move to a couple of new business items and we close for this Saturday? So
David,
yes, please, Gene. Yes.
I think another way to honor Brother Blyden is he's collecting money for the toys, and he's not collecting now, obviously, but the Kappa Alpha Psi group in Bradenton is receiving donations in his honor for toys this year, and hopefully the next year and the year after.
Great.
I believe some of those toys can be dropped off at the Betty J. Johnson Library also.
They can. Great reminder, Gene and Fred, and thanks to the Kappas for carrying on that important work. So let's get those toys in. Under new business, I want to just take a moment and highlight this. You've heard the reference to Plessy versus Ferguson. Hopefully you all know that case, the Supreme Court case that established separate but equal and created the Jim Crow legacy that we still suffer under. The descendants of Homer Plessy, or I should say the descendant Keith Plessy, and I believe, descendant of Judge Ferguson, Phoebe Ferguson, have formed an organization. It's called Plessy and Ferguson. They happen to be very good friends of our member, Alex Trureau, who is on the call today. Alex contacted us to say that he has finally prevailed on them to visit us here in Sarasota in January. And so we're working feverishly and with great excitement to offer, and I should mention, for those of you who might have missed it, I believe the parole board and ultimately the governor in Louisiana, I'm blanking on the term, pardoned, it may be the correct term, Homer Plessy.
Posthumously pardoned.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Right,
Thank you, Judge. Homer Plessy, who of course was the gentleman arrested on the New Orleans streetcar for violating the Jim Crow rules in place. So the pardon got a lot of press, and Phoebe Ferguson and Keith Plessy have been on the media. Hopefully you've seen some of their interviews. There's some great newspaper articles. And Alex actually has forwarded a couple to me, which we can share with the membership. So we're going to get these folks here and find as many opportunities as we can, certainly within our moment in history, Black History, Beyond Black History segment. So that I'm excited about that. The other bit of related information, one of our members, Joe Hurd, has offered to share with us some of the genealogy that he's done of his family. And I understand correctly, that genealogy begins, if it's not 1619, then it's 1620. Joe can correct me, but he's put together what appears to me to be an extraordinary history of that family, free Blacks through these generations. And so I know Gary Giscom's going to be all over Joe to get that scheduled for our membership. Again, we're looking for this kind of content to share with you. So don't be shy if you've got something to share, as Harold did today. And we're looking for Plessy and Ferguson and Joe Hurd. Any other new business? Any old business? Any announcements for the good of the membership, good of the order? Seeing none, hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Concludes our meeting. Excellent. I assume there's no objections to adjournment. Everybody have a wonderful Saturday.
David, you do the same, and happy holidays to everyone. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays to everyone.
David,
We'll leave the Zoom open for a moment. Yeah,
Dave,
please.
yeah, could I say something?
Yes, you could.
Thanks to you for doing an outstanding job as our president. And I couldn't help but notice that shirt that you're wearing. And I am not unhappy that you guys finally beat Ohio State in football.
Speak for yourself.
What's he I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, Michigan.
Hey, I'm with you, Mr. President.
Ohio State.
David, you can stop the recording.
Thank you.
See ya.
We got that important information.
Great meeting.